Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. We are doing the chapter Industries, and under this chapter, we have completed uh, different different industrial regions of the world, as well as different industrial regions of India also. Okay, and today we will start a new subtopic, and that is distribution of major industries. So, distribution of major industries. In this section, we will see the important industries of the world and what are the raw materials, what are the factors which affect their location, then the important iron and steel industry of India and of the world also. Okay, so in this regard, we will see that the most important, or we can say the major industry, is the iron and steel industry and textile industry. These two are the oldest and major industries of the world. Like when in Britain, in England, when this industrial revolution started, it was these two uh, industries, iron and steel and textile industry, where in which this industrial revolution took place. So these are the most important industries. Other than these two, which are the oldest one, we find that there is another industry which is very important, which has gained very importance in present day situation, that is information technology industry. It's an emerging industry because in today's time there is change in the technology. Advanced technology is being used, so information technology has become very important industry. So we will see that first of all about iron and steel industry. So we see that this industry is mainly, we can see the it is located in almost all the countries of the world, but its concentration is found in Germany, USA, China, Japan, and Russia. Okay, so these are the countries: Germany, USA. Okay, Germany, USA, Japan, Russia, and China. So these are the countries where we find major iron and steel industry. And then we see in textile industry, the countries where this industry is concentrated is India, Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. Okay, so second is textile industry, India, Hong Kong, yes, India, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea. Okay, and then the another one, the last one about which we will discuss, that is information technology industry, and this IT industry is mainly we can say the hub. हब का मतलब ही वही होता है यहाँ पर कंसंट्रेशन है. हब का मतलब वो हुआ जहाँ पर like if we are saying that the hub of information technology industry are the Silicon Valley of Central California. It means that Central California के Silicon Valley में IT industry concentrated है. ठीक है. So this is the important place of information technology industry. The third one is information technology industry. This industry is concentrated in Silicon Valley, and if we consider it about India, in India, where is it concentrated? It is in Bangalore. So these are the two places in the world. It's Silicon Valley and in the context of India, it's Bangalore. We will discuss about all these in detail in later discussions of the chapter. Right now, we will start with iron and steel industry. Okay. Okay, iron and steel industry. ठीक है. So iron and steel industry is also an example of farm system which we have studied in previous classes. Every industry is a system in which we find some inputs are there, then some processes are there, and then output is there. है. So it is also there in iron and steel industry, and then we find that it is also called, one of the most important thing about the iron and steel industry is that it is called a feeder industry. So what do we mean by feeder industry? Feeder means feed करने वाला, the one who feeds, है ना, जो खाना देता है, feed करता है हमें, that is feeder. So it is called feeder industry because the produce of iron and steel industry, that is steel, that steel is used as raw material for other industries. That is the reason it is called feeder industry. It's a question, very good question. Why iron and steel industry is called a feeder industry? Because the products of iron and steel industry are used as raw material for other industries. Okay, and now we will see what are the inputs, what are the important processes involved, and what are the outputs. Okay, so first of all, input of iron and steel industry. Input is iron ore, coal, and limestone. ठीक है, these are the raw materials which are required for this iron and steel industry, है ना. And other than these three important ingredients, there is also requirement of other things like labor. So other than these three, you can say these are raw material, है ना. Raw material is a part of input. Other than raw material, there is requirement of labor, there is requirement of capital, there is requirement of site. Site means the place where all these things will take place. Processes, all the processes will take place, so that is also input, you know, the setup, the factory, the site. And then another input is infrastructure. In infrastructure you can include so many things, जो basic चीज़ें हैं, basic structure without which we cannot do anything, like roads. Roads are an important example of basic structure, or we can say infrastructure, because in the absence of roads, there will no transportation of raw materials, there will be no transportation of finished goods, so everything will collapse, and so this is the reason these are called infrastructure, basic structure, मूलभूत ढांचा, without which nothing will happen, है ना. So that is also electricity, then power, all these are comes under infrastructure. So these are the input for iron and steel industry. And after input, what happens? So many processes are involved through which these iron ore converts into steel. Okay. So what is the process? Processes, so many processes are involved, and what we find that this process of conversion of iron ore into steel has so many stages. It's a very, we can say it's a very lengthy process and complex process, and it has so many stages. And the first, and we can simplify it in order to understand the processes, we can simplify it that that one of the most important process is smelting. You have read about this, the process of smelting in history also, when you were doing iron smelters and factory owners, that chapter, weavers, iron smelters and factory owners. You have done this chapter, and in this chapter when you were studying about woods, the special type of iron, high carbon iron, which was produced in India at the time of, we can say in 17th century, in 16th century, 17th century, this iron was produced. So the same process was involved at that time also. The process is same, the we can say raw material is also same, but there is some differences in the process. So we don't have to go in that detail about woods, and here we have to concentrate on this process of smelting. Smelting is simply melting of iron ore, है ना, जहाँ पर कि आयरन ओर को मेल्ट किया जाता है. And in iron and steel industries, what happens that the raw material is put in the blast furnace. फर्नेस में उसको डाल दिया जाता है, जो रॉ मटेरियल्स हमने देखा, और वहाँ पर बहुत ही हाई टेम्परेचर होता है. इसकी because of this high temperature the raw materials are melted, they get melted, है ना. And this process is known as smelting. स्मेल्टिंग के बाद उसकी रिफाइनिंग होती है ना. ये हम बहुत सिंप्लीफाइड फॉर्म में हम चीज़ों को समझ रहे हैं, इतनी चीज़ें आसान नहीं होती है ना. बहुत बड़ा सेटअप होता है. तो दूसरी जो प्रोसेस हम जिसके बारे में थोड़ा सा जानेंगे, रिफाइनिंग है. जो भी स्टील प्रोड्यूस होता है उसमें कुछ इम्प्योरिटीज़ होती है, तो उसको रिफाइन करना पड़ता है उसकी, और उसको प्यूरिफाई करना पड़ता है ना. तो दैट इज़ ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द प्रोसेसेस विच इज़ इन्वॉल्व. एंड इज आफ्टर दैट आउटपुट, है ना, वी गेट आउटपुट. व्हाट इज द आउटपुट? The output is steel. This steel is used as raw material by other industries, है ना. So now we will see that if like in your book you will see this figure 5.6 is given. ओके, फिगर 5.6 इज गिवन, जिसमें हम देखते हैं कि हाउ दिस आयरन ओर इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू स्टील. एक जो मेन पिक्चर है दैट इज द पिक्चर ऑफ अ ब्लास्ट फर्नेस. ठीक है. एंड इन दिस ब्लास्ट फर्नेस what is poured, what is put in? It's iron ore, limestone and coke. Okay, these three are put in the blast furnace where the temperature is very high. And here you will find that on one side this molten iron is we are getting molten iron, and on the other side we are getting slag. So this is blast furnace is there. And in this you will see that on the one side what is coming out? Molten, okay, molten iron. And on the other side what is coming out? It's slag. What is slag? Slag is waste. It is also useful in some or the other way. इसका जो भी यूज़ होता है उसको करके फिर इसको डिस्कार्ड किया जाता है. लाइक जहाँ पर इतने हाई लेवल पे, इतने लार्ज स्केल पे प्रोडक्शन का काम हो रहा है, तो ऑब्वियसली कुछ ना कुछ वेस्ट क्रिएट होगा. तो दिस वेस्ट इज स्लैग. ओके, तो इस तरह से ये होता है. एंड देन यू विल सी वन मोर थिंग. फिगर 5.5 इज ऑल्सो देयर इन योर बुक, इन विच यू विल फाइंड दैट इन ऑर्डर टू produce 1 ton of steel, what is required in what quantity. Like if you want to produce 1 ton of steel, one ton of steel, in order to produce 1 ton of steel you will require 8 tons of 8 tons of coal. Okay, then 4 tons of iron ore, and then 1 ton of limestone. These are the quantity, है ना. 8 tons of coal, 4 tons of iron ore and 1 ton of limestone, when they are mixed up in a particular way, जो भी उनका process है, smelting का process हुआ, तो फिर हम what we get 1 ton of steel. Okay. So this is all for today. We will continue with this topic only in the next class.